We will continue our example. We first make the input group, then we make the output group. Next, we have the body part. For this body part, we are going to just design a ball and we will just give the shape of this ball. As you see, we have a different, some features which I have recently added. We have a different variable fillet at this point. It is not very needed, but I would like to also show you about how a variable fillet can be done in some units. We have some dimensional relationships here. Also, I would like to just make this part as we see here. Okay, the first thing, I would like to just create a part file by using the dimensions here and first define the whole length, which is 160, 152 and 120 millimeter, which will result one dimension here, which I do right now. I don't know. I have to calculate that one. Also, we have some different dimensions for this. We are going to make these figures and we will just create the first thing. Okay, our width is here with 240 and our height will be 140 and 20 here, which is 160. Okay, let's start with the body part. We will first create the body part here and we will just make the outline as you see here. Okay, we have a wall thickness inside and this wall thickness, we will just make this wall thickness by giving only the hands with the extrusion features, not with the shell commands, because shell command will just make our part distracted, as you see. Okay, let's start with a new part. First, I would like to have a body part and I would like to create this inside the ball here, and I will just add some portions by having the revolve tool with sometimes cut, with sometimes addition with the join operations. Okay, the next thing, I would like to have a new standard millimetric and view from here. I would like to have changed the shaded with edges, have the center point visible and XY plane visible. In our figure, we have no specific, let me open a little bit more. We do not have any specific center point. But as you see, we have some details which are just grouped together. And these groups are just related. We have many features here. As you see, we have a threaded something like this. Also, we have holes. We also have some details. Also, some dimensions are begin from these sections. For this, I have chosen the point here, which is, as you see, this point as my origin, or this point as my origin. Okay. Let's start and take this point. I'm going to take this point, which is the sections here. We have many sections also in the same size. One shows the AA section, which is this one. One shows the WW section, which is on the other side. Okay. Actually, it is an easy part. With some features we have to add. We sometimes add, we sometimes just subtract. Anyway, okay, here. What I'm going to do is I will first create this 2-axis lines here in the inventor. Open my new model, start a new sketch on XY plane. 2 lines, one, also another line, a long line, also another line here and convert these lines to construction and stick the first line, this line on passing here, and this point as origin. This point as origin. Okay, let me take my move back. I would like to just make this midpoint on this side. Okay. Okay. I would like to extend this line. Anyway, from figure, I will have 152 in dimension. First, I give the axis dimensions, having the dimension tool. Okay, which is 152. And after this one, as you see, we have also the other side. From the outer face, we have 160. We will first make the bowl with a rectangle tool, first of all. And this time, we have a wall thickness. I'm just going to simulate with 2 rectangles. And I would like to have a wall thickness. You can also use the offset command to have the 20 millimeter inside. But this time, okay, let's make this one this way. I will just delete the top side and extend the 2 lines and give the dimensional constraint, which is 20, on every side. Awesome. Okay, the next thing, we have 160. Here we have 160. Also, for the top side, we have 140, which is the inside of our figure, 140. Also, for the other side, we have, after this one, we should have to go, I will just extend this figure. We would like to go first 100 millimeter. As you see, we have the ball here. You can just make 2 extrusions simultaneously to get the inside area. Okay, let's make the first, finish my sketch. I have started with extrusions. Select every section which I have, every profile which I have created. Again, I would like to keep the mid plane here and the thickness, as I have told you before, which is 240. I will go back to and change my extrusion length with 240 for this. Okay, the next thing. Again, I would like to use the same sketch to make the inside area empty. And here I have again the wall thicknesses from sideways. Again, this wall thicknesses just goes the same way. Here I will just use this inside profile. As you see, when I get closer, I get this profile. And from here, again, I would like to make a symmetrical process with cutting option, which removes the upper section here. Also, with 240, we'll just remove all the sections, but I would like to just make a minus operation with 20, again, minus operation from the other side to just leave the wall thickness from each side. Okay, this is my ball figure, which is this one. The next thing to do is, first of all, I would like to just give variable fillets here. From this tool, I will just enlarge how the fillet tool. This is a new command for you. And here we have a variable section. We will just make variable fillets. As you see, our icon is different this time. I'm not going to use the first tab. The second tab I'm going to use. I would like to have first this section. The next thing, I will enter the fillets. Here, what I have from the top side, as you see, we have 10 millimeter, and the other one we do not see. Let's say we can just make the 40 millimeter, which just, or 30 millimeter, which is just the same in size with the wall thickness. Okay, let's make first the 10 millimeter, the top side or bottom side. This is the starting from this point. I will just make 30 for this one, and ending point, which is 10 millimeter, like this. This is the first fillet. Again, another fillet, again, a variable fillet. We will do the same thing for all four corners. Again, 10 millimeter, this time 10 millimeters on the top side, like this, and 30 millimeter on the back side, like this. Again, apply. This time I do not prefer OK. I will just choose the apply button here. Again, this is the 10 millimeter. This time 10 millimeter belongs to the back side, the bottom side. For this, I will change again 30, then the ending point, which is 10 millimeter. Apply the next one. It is again, I will change my point of view. This time, I will use the 10 millimeter on the top side, 30 millimeter from the bottom side. Okay. Normally, from my lessons, I do not prefer to giving the fillets, but this time our part has no significant effect on the parts here. We have a 40 millimeter on every side here, as you see. Also 20 millimeter from inside. It does not have any effect on our figure. For this, I will just ignore my rules. First of all, I will just make a constant and choose the face here and give the radius for 40 millimeter. Okay. This time, I have the ball with 40 millimeter here. Also, the inside, I have other fillets from the top side. As you see, we have 20 millimeter fillets on all corners. I will just make that fillets. These are normal constant fillets, unless it's specified. First, the 20 for all four sides. I will just select one by one. The next one, the next one, the next one, with apply. After selecting, after giving the fillets on corners, I will just use the bottom side of our figure for giving the same fillet which I have seen in these corners. As you see, we have 20s on these corners. Okay, the next thing, I have this fillet in our figure. Again, close the visibility to check my figure. Okay, we have the ball figure which is this time visible. As you see, we have our origin point. And I will just like to add some details to our figure. As you see, we have the thickness straight from this point. I will add that thickness first. Also, this one, I would like to add other thicknesses as well. Here, what I have is this detail. Okay. Also, I do not have any hole at this point. Also, I have the other one. Anyway, let's forget about that one. And we will just create this sketch on the face, which we have seen from the AA sections, or this one. This is AA sections. Okay. For this, what I'm going to do is I will just create the face this time, have started sketch on this face. With F7 tool, I will just make a cut here. I have the origin point and just copy this sketch. And in copying, I will just draw this sketch. I will use these origin points. Okay. The next. First, I will just create a 35. Then after, I will just create the other circles and other details from here. This is the 50, belongs to the other side of the R figure. We have 35, 35 in radiuses. These are in radiuses. This is the one we have started with 35. I will just draw what I see in this view. Okay. The next we have on the top side, we have a teeth on this side. Okay. The next thing, I have an axis. I will just create a line and turn it to construction. As you see, the other teeth dimensions are not given. For this, I must consider this face or this teeth face will be copied on the other side of this line here. For this, I will just continue to define the dimensions, which is 20 in this side, and I will make this point coincident on this line. Okay. The next, I will go to 20, 70.5. Again, for this one, I do not have any detail, so I must think that I have a symmetric condition about these two. For this, I will just ignore and delete and create a new line, which is passing at the midpoint of this line. And convert it to construction and make it the mirror of this line on the other line by using this line. Apply and done. Okay. Here we have the midpoint, or this point, to be far from the center line, which is 52.5. Okay, we have engaged that one. We have just corrected. Okay, the next thing, I have the copies of these three lines, three lines, these geometries, by using mirror of this line with apply and done. Okay, the next. Also, I have some details here. What I need is, I have the diameter here, and I have the radius, which radius type here, which is 27.5. Okay. It will just continue to up to this point. Also, after that one, I have 45, I will just go through this point, 45, but this time it is not radius. I'm sorry, I made a mistake about the dimension type. Again, constraint dimension, select this one, right click, with dimension type, the radius, which is 45. This is my radius. The next, we have the 80. Again, the next one, we have the 80. Dimension type, the radius, which is the 80. Again, I'm sorry. Again, the radius. Right click, radius, which is 80 here. Okay. It will just interrupt it at this point. Okay. Let me use this one. Or if you want, you can just make trims after these points. You can make these points as you see here. The next, we have other circles besides. Again, and line. This is my axis line. You can also bring that line, but it is better, no problem so far. Much more click than this one. 152. Again, we have 3 circles, 35, 45, 35, 45, and 60, which we see the touching points here. The 50 belongs to the outer circle here, which is defined, or which was in this figure here. Anyway, I will define 3 circles simultaneously, and I will just give the dimensions which I have seen here. Again, this one, this is the radius. Do not forget this one. This is the radius. I'll start with the smaller one, 35. The next, again, right click, radius, it is 45. The next, right click, the dimension type, the radius, it is 60. Okay. The next thing, I will just delete, trim the relation figures. Okay. The next thing, I will just make the sketch visibility off and XY plane, this time a little bit off. Okay. The next thing, what I need is here. I will search for the details of these parts. As you see, we have a very light thickness on this wall side. We have an extrusion about this one, and we have a full extrusion by using the same sizes here. Up to this point, I have the same size, and after that one, I will have the same amount here. We can just make a cut at that point. Okay. We will just continue our modeling. Okay, this is the wall side, and I will search the details of that wall. Here, I have the YY command, and the YY section here, I have some details about the closing points. As you see, we have a 20-point thickness, wall thickness, and after this one, we have 35.5 millimeter in this thickness. For this, you can just consider to make the cuts and fills to inside of our figure. Okay. What I'm going to do is, I will just first create a full circle here, having the 35.5 millimeter at this point. I'm going to deal with this point. How the first, select every figure I'm going to make. And this time I will add, this is the 20 millimeter wall thickness, and I will add to reach the 35.5 millimeter, I will just make 55. The next thing, what I'm going to do is, I will just create the cuts one by one. Here, I have the outer diameter, and I will just would like to create a new sketch, but this time, I need only the geometries that I have in the back side. I have the geometry for outside, but for this one, I need the geometry here. You can also create that geometry, which is the 45. We have a ring here left to 45. You can also continue this one, or you can just make the first sketch visible, because we are going to make this one. We will use the first extrusion, this one, and have the 45 millimeter, have the project geometry. I will just hide the body and get this 45 millimeter. After this point, you can just make the also visibility. You can make this one outside of our figure, or you can just redefine your sketch figure to this point. Anyway, from this one, I again go back to my cutting sketch. Here, what I'm going to do is I will just create and select this face to get all the details of this face. Okay. I have the extrude tool. Select this region and change my direction to inside to have the cut. The next thing, what I'm going to do is I will just look for this length here, which is 35, and leave it as 7 millimeter here, 20, which is 18 millimeter, 35.5 minus 18 millimeter, 35.5 minus 18 millimeter. Okay. Then I reach somewhere in the sketch. Okay. The next thing, what I need is I have a 7 millimeter cut at this point, which is again in YY section. Again, have the extrude tool, have this one. You can also create a new sketch. Start a new sketch. This time I need on this face. Okay. Again, go back to this one. I need get the geometries that I need. This is something different than our sketch. We have used this face. This is a little bit inside of our area. Okay. The next thing, I finished my sketch. Have the extrude tool. And this time I will go inside, but not 10 millimeter. I will go 7 millimeter to inside. Okay. 7 millimeter to inside. This is the detail which I did on the back side of it. We have made this portion. The next, I would like to open another visibility. Here, the first thing that I would like to create is this threaded tooth area. Okay. The next thing, I will just make an extrusion by selecting this face, this area, this region, also the region on the other side. I cannot see some details here. I need this region. Okay, I add that region, this region, this region also, and I will just turn back, and make the last two selections. Okay, these two regions. Okay, and change it my direction, and select the to command to the next or to the selection of this face. I would like to have this extrusion, okay, which is this one, this selection. We have made that one. And after that one, we have a wall thickness, which is, again, at that wall thickness, we have the YY shape. Here we have this thickness, which is the YY shape here. This time, VV section here, VV section. But I can see some details about that VV section, which is this one. We have 22.5, and we have 7 millimeter with 20 plus 27 millimeters. Okay, I need this wall thickness. Okay, the next one, I need all the areas to be extruded. We can also make this area, which is 27 millimeter in thickness. Also, do not forget this smaller areas. Okay. Also this one and this one. Okay. We have the thickness here. Then after we have make the grooves here. Okay. I can just close or just redraw these figures here. The next one, we have a 45 radius. Okay. What I'm going to do is I will save my part file before it goes. The first part, 1 cover or part 3 body part. This is part 3, the body part, which we are going to mount on it. Okay, the next thing, what I'm going to do is I will just create a new sketch on this face. Okay, with F7 tool, I will remove all the other sketches and make height, because I'm going to make a new sketch here. Again, I can use this origin point. As you see, we have this one, and I have just made right click, dimension type, the radius, which is 45. Okay, I will just first make the first groove, which I have seen from the isometric view, this one. I will just make the first groove. This groove will go to inside with this length, which is 71, and after this one, it will go to 27. Extrude this one with minus, 27, but this time it will go inside, and I change my direction. After that, we again start a new sketch. We have the 10 millimeter thickness inside. Again, I will just start a new circle here. This time, our circle has 37.5. The radius, right click, 37.5 in radius. Finish my sketch, have the extrude tool, This time I select every face and make a cut at this point. The next we have, I have opened this figure, and this time I will use this input shaft in all sections because I do not have, we can use the all sections, and I will just make the cut with through all options. Okay, I will just close my sketch view. I have this side. Okay, almost the same. The next thing, we have some other features, which are these points. For the other side, again, I will just create the figures. But for this one, for that side, we have an extension at this point. We have to be careful about that one. We have to be careful about that one. We need the dimensions here, which we have seen from the other side, which is the 51. Also, you can just choose this one, which is 22, 52, and the other dimensions are. We can see these dimensions from this details. Also, this one, we only have the grooves of the bearing seating point and also the ceilings and other shaft things. We have some details. Okay, here we have 25 with 20, which will be 45 millimeter from here. The VV section or the other section, the WW section, we can see some details. Okay, for this, I will just rotate my PDF file, and I will just choose a sketch this time on XY plane. I will just make visible and start a new sketch this time on this plane. Why I'm doing this one? I will just reflect these figures when I need it from the other side. If I just use the face to create on, when I have extrusions or when I have in extrusions especially, we just lose the relationship, the visibilities, but for cuts we do not have many more. We have to just hide our body to see our sketch. But in this plane section, we do not need to just give this relation here. The body hiding operations, we can just overcome easily. From here, I have the F7 tool. What this F7 tool means, it will remove everything on our point. As you see, we have this point this time, and I'm going to start the circles or arc shapes which I need. For this, again, another line here, and I would like to make this dimension, which is 152, which is this circle's points. Okay, and I'm not going to use it anymore. I am sorry. Let me enter this sketch again with F7 tool. It is the 80. Okay. Again, the radius type. Let me correct it first of all. Okay, the next one we have 32.5. Again, the radius 32.5. A little bit smaller. Here we have the figures here, and I'm going to just make this one construction because I'm not going to use. We only make the sketches and we will just make combines and other things. Also, I would like to have the geometry here because we will just make the additions to our figure sometimes. The next, I would like to again at this intersection point, which is this line and this line intersection. I will use this point. As you see, when I give the dimension, I will just check my figure, which is the first one, the radius, it is 60. 60, 40, 27.5, and the last, which is 35 millimeter divided by 2, 17.5. I will draw 4 circles, at least 3 circles left here. 1 more. Okay. You can also make the cuts if you want, so you can make the trims because we have already a line. Let's make this one. I will just make the trim without moving anything. As you see, I will just select the trim by pressing the left button. I will just go through which it cuts this command. Okay. Also this one, I will just make the cuts. Okay. Anyway, this time I can easily give the radiuses because this time it is the radius 27.5 and the last one we have 40. Okay, let's finish our sketches. Okay, the next thing, I will use these sketches to reflect on it. What I need is, first I need all the bodies. I'm sorry, I think I'm in the wrong place. Again, rotate it. This time I have these places here. As you see, we have these details. And for outer plane here, we have start a new sketch. Again, I'm going to use this origin point. I will just get a project geometry to outside. For construction purposes, I will use width, radius. I will make the extension here, which you see at this point, which is 50, and get the top line with trim operation. I need this geometry to be out, extruded out. I have the extrude tool, select this face, and the extrusion length, I will just search for it. As you see, we have an extension here, which is 30 millimeter from the first body part. It is 30 outside. Okay, yes. The next, we also have the extension here. Also, we have other extensions on the other side. Okay, let's make the other D's. We first make the figure here. The next, start a new sketch on this face. This time I'm just only going to make the back part, this part. I will project the geometries here first, then the top side. First create the extrusion, then I will just make this extrusion. For extrusion length, I will just go, as you see, we are on the against of this detail here. This detail, the back side, we have, as you see, we have 45 millimeter far from here, which is 25 and 20, which result. We have back in 20 here. We need to go 25 more to have this one. Okay, this is included our part. Then, okay, let me just close the visibility. Yes, this is much more clear. I will just make an extrusion, which is this one. Again, start a new sketch on this face. I need the geometries. First project. I need this geometry. Then I would like to extract, select the 42.5, which is 75 millimeter, 85 millimeter, I'm sorry. Finish my sketch. Again, have the extrude tool. This time I would like to go inside here, which is 20 millimeter, with cut option, which is 20, I'm sorry. I will reselect the profile. This is the 20 millimeter inside. Okay. After this 20 millimeter, I will again go to 65, which is 32.5 millimeter in radius. And this will be this length, and we'll just only reserve 5 millimeter wall thickness. Again, start a new sketch. Okay, turn back to the isometric view. Again, zoom in, get the geometry, have the project geometry, this section. Also, I need this geometry to be subtracted from. Again, geometry, get this one. Finish my sketch, have the extrude tool, and get this time to inside and make the cut for 20 millimeter. It will result only 5 millimeter wall thickness, which you see at this point. Okay. This one. This is the next. Okay. The next part, we have the extension here. As you see, we have also wall thickness. As you see, we have 27 millimeter far from this wall here. We have some other details, but first we need to just create a big sketch, big circle, extrusion to outside. Okay. Have the start a new sketch on this face. Again, go back to select the geometry I need. Also, I need the geometry here. I need only this portion. Finish my sketch, have the extrude tool. This time, what I need is, I need 8 millimeter thickness, which is, I will just change 8 millimeter thickness from this point. Okay, here, the wall thickness here. I need only 8 millimeter. This thickness is 20, and I need 8 millimeter here. Okay, the next thing, I will just cut this point with 40 millimeter in thickness, first of all. The next thing, I'll start a new sketch. Again, isometric, zoom in, have the geometry. I have the geometry. I will just make the projection of this one. I will just make the cut for 23 millimeter. Finish my sketch, have the extrude tool. This time, I will just choose inside area, cut to inside, which is 23. Okay, this one. The next, we have again a 55 millimeter, which is 27.5. Again, a new sketch on this face this time. Go back to, then I will just create a project geometry of the whole figure. But I need only this projection, which is 27.5 millimeter. Finish my sketch, have the extrude tool, I need this area to be cutted. This time our cut length is 13. I will just close and reorganize. Also, do not forget to save your part file during the modeling. I save my part file. The next, what I need is, I only have the missing things. We have the holes here, outside and inside. Also, some fillets, which are here, the back sides. You can just make it as you wish. We have the fillets, as you see here, the rounds. Let me look for those dimensions I have made. Yes, the 5mm fillets on each side here. These fillets reduce the, I have selected, reduce the stress concentrations. This is the one. This is the second. Also change my view. This is the third. Also, if I wonder if I can change, select this one. Yes. We have 4 fillets on each side. Okay. Mostly our part is finished actually. Yes. Okay. We have holes here, hole pattern, and also a hole pattern back side of our part. Let's make this one. First of all, I need a sketch. I will just turn back a figure, which I have seen here. Yes, our body part is something like this. Please do not hesitate to change your part view. Okay, or you can just change your part dimension, or you can just change your paper view. Okay, this is the paper here actually. Start a new sketch on this face. I will just create a PCD circle, pitch circle diameter construction. Here I have 120 in diameter. I'm sorry, 120. You can just make a line to get the intersection of this circle here, this hole, I'm sorry, this one, I'm not interested. What I did is, I need only the mark at this hole point. This is the point of the hole here. Finish my sketch first. I will just make the copies around 100 degrees. I will just pattern the circular pattern, but half of it, okay? First, make the hole. I will search for the hole details, turn back my page view, and search for it. Where can I get that hole view? As you see, we have our hole here. I will just start a threaded hole with the metric 12 with 6H 1.75 in pitch length, and with 18mm in threaded length. This is the threaded length, and 20mm in hole length. Yes. Let's design our hole. This is our geometry. I will just extend a little bit more. Extend a little bit more. I need a threaded hole with normal start. I do not have contour bore, spot face, or countersink. The metric profile, I need metric 12 here. Metric 12 with the depth distance, which is 20 first. It will warn me because the threaded length is more than hole length. it is not possible for this, I will just change the dimension which I have seen. The threaded length is 18, the other one is 20. Okay. The next, I need to select the point. I have placed the hole because the sketch in direction, it is known. Also, the hole at this point. Okay, this is our hole. The next, I will just make the copy, circular pattern. This is the hole, and the rotation here. I need four copies. As you see, the 4 copies with full 360 degrees, but I need 4 copies in 180. I have the backside, which I have seen at this in this example, like this one. Okay, I have the copies of these holes. Okay, the next, we have the missing of the connection, cover connection holes. Also, we have missing, I'm sorry, I will change the part. Also, I have just omitted this fillet. We also have another fillet from the outside, which is this one. I'm sorry, not the hole. I'm sorry. The fillet, I have missed this fillet. I will add that fillet to my figure. It's not very important, but when I see some details, I would like to add that details. Okay. The next, we have the hole details, as you see. Actually, these are symmetrical around, except one dimension. One dimensions here. The holes at these ends are symmetrical around these ends. Okay. Also, we have some exceptions at this point. Let's start a sketch for our figure. Okay, then change your view. As you see here, we have this one. As you see, we have this view. If you do not have, please change your direction from the top box and you can rotate your view. Okay, this is the view that I would like to have. And for this, I need 4 axis lines. This is one. This is the second one. This is the third one. This is the fourth one. The next, we have the holes. Also, you can just make a normal axis passing from the midpoint of our figure if you want so, but it is better only to make this. The lines here and this point, they are located on this line. I will just make this one construction, and I will just like to have short lines for axis of our part holes. We have 4 holes. We have 4 lines. The axis line passes 10 millimeter far from this line end, which is this one, 10. And I would like to just choose trims like this, because I need only the points of this figure. I will give the geometries here. As you see, we have 220. I would like to just make an axis line symmetrical from this point. I will just make the symmetry axis and convert it to construction. Okay, I need 4 points here, which is this one, is far from the center point 25. Also, this line is 50 millimeter far from here. Okay. The next one, we have again a 50 millimeter far from here. Also, we have a 50 millimeter far from here. Okay. We have the access points here. Do the same thing for other parts. We have again a 30 millimeter, 10 millimeter far from this circle, this hole. And for this small hole, I need one hole at this point. I need an access line. I only mark this end line end, and I would like to have 30 millimeters. Okay. The next other hole here, again, the length from this one, I will add the dimension, which is 10. I will only need for construction the other one, the line here, and the line is 40 millimeter far from this line at, okay? I would like to see, I'm sorry, this one I will convert it to construction. It is not important, but to see better in the whole command, we can just select, it's better to have the figures. For other side, these are the symmetrical around this two lines. For this purpose, what I'm going to do is I will just make a symmetry line between these two line ends, and I will just make this line to be trimmed in order to get the midpoint of this line. Or you can just make the dimension here. You can just extend these lines if you want so. Construction, as you see, we have another hole here, which is 50 millimeter far from this line end, and on this line, this is 50. Also, for the other side, we have again a 50. You can also make a mirror by using this mirror line. Okay, this one. Also, you can extend these lines up to next command, or just create 4 lines and make the trims. These are connected. These are symmetrical holes in our body. Again, I would like to just go back to the whole command. This one. And I would like to just make the trim to get the points. This one, trimmed more, one more. Okay. Also this one I have. Okay. I have marked the points for holes. And the hole detail is this one, with metric 10 millimeter threaded length and 15 millimeter for other one. Let's design our hole feature first of all. Change the size to metric 10, metric profile here. The dimension, first the threaded length, it is 10 millimeters, a little short. This time I have 15 millimeters. Okay. The next thing, we need to input the geometry. I will select every point, this point, this point, I need, I think, for here 10 points for our part. Okay, next one, this point, this point, this point. As you see, the lines are different to each other. Do not forget that one. The next, the lines are not connected to. This line is different line, this line is different line. We have the threaded hull. And we have our part finished so far. From the top side, you can just check your part here from the other views. Okay. In the assembly environment, we will just assign the materials of our parts. Okay. Here, as you see, we have all the details. We have a straight wall at this point. We have an 7 millimeter here. As you see, our part is also very similar looking here. Also here, you can also check the dimensions given in our exam. I have saved this part and I will just continue with the cover part.